The feud goes on.
This ain't no tea party, lads, it's a proper tear-up. A tear-up that begins with an egg slap in it. When Connor Benn and Eubank Jr. step into the ring, they are not just fighting for themselves, they are carrying the weight of a decades-old rivalry on their shoulders. Their fathers, Nigel Benn and Eubank Sr., gave British boxing one of its most legendary feuds, serving up two absolute wars in the 90s. One was a brutal stoppage win for Eubank, the other an infamous draw that still sparks debates in pubs across Britain. Now, their sons are ready to settle the score in a modern-day grudge match that's got everything: family pride, bad blood, and the kind of needle that makes for a blockbuster scrap. And let's be honest, lads, this one's personal. Benn has made it clear he's coming to rip Eubank Jr. apart, and Eubank, well, he's been his usual cocky self, talking about schooling Benn like he's some fresh-faced apprentice. But here's the thing, this ain't some gentleman's sparring session. This is a proper dust-up, and someone's leaving with their pride in tatters. As the old saying goes, it only takes one punch to change everything, and with the fire these two bring, we might not even need a judge's scorecard. So buckle up, grab your fish and chips, and get ready for a fight that's got all the makings of a British boxing classic. The Benn-Eubank War is back, only this time, it's the sons writing the final chapter. And guys, if you are looking for the best boxing apparel all the United Kingdom, just need to check out boxingfightzone.com, using my promo code Hercules and get a huge 30% discount on every single order you made. Keep an eye on the website as the latest hoodie on Connor Benn and Eubank Jr. fight will soon be launched. You can check out full details in the pinned comment section. Eubank Jr. is known for his ability to maintain distance, using his jab effectively to set up his power punches. His fighting style is built around fluid movement, keeping his opponents at bay while creating openings for his sharp uppercuts and hooks. He has solid boxing fundamentals with a disciplined approach that allows him to dictate the pace of his fights. Against a relentless pressure fighter like Connor Benn, however, this strategy will be tested to the fullest. Connor Benn must recognize that engaging Eubank Jr. in a technical boxing match at mid to long range is a losing strategy. Eubank Jr. thrives when he can control the tempo, utilizing his jab and footwork to stay on the outside. To counter this, Benn needs to adopt a strategy similar to that of Evander Holyfield, one that revolves around intelligent pressure, staying in the pocket, and neutralizing the opponent's reach advantage. Holyfield's style was built on controlled aggression, effective head movement, and the ability to fight on the inside while absorbing minimal damage. It is important Eddie Hearn checks Connor because this is all part of the mental game which the egg slap must not get into Connor's head. If it is a strategy to sell the fight, good; if not, he may be walking into the trap of Chris Jr. For Benn to succeed, he must cut off the ring effectively, forcing Eubank Jr. against the ropes or into corners where he can unload short, compact punches. He needs to use lateral movement rather than following Eubank Jr. in a straight line, which would allow the latter to reset and maintain distance. The key is to keep the fight at close quarters, where Benn's explosive combinations to the body and head can have the most impact. One of Holyfield's trademarks was his ability to neutralize taller, rangier fighters by slipping past the jab and working inside. Benn needs to use feints and upper body movement to make Eubank Jr. hesitant in throwing his jab freely. Once inside, he should focus on short hooks to the ribs and uppercuts to the chin, punches that will make it difficult for Eubank Jr. to maintain his rhythm. The inside fight will be uncomfortable for Eubank Jr., who prefers fights where he can dictate the action from mid-range. Another key element of Holyfield's approach that Benn should implement is the strategic use of clinching and roughhouse tactics. When facing bigger opponents, Holyfield would often clinch to smother their offense, then explode with quick, unexpected counters as soon as the referee broke the hold. Benn must adopt a similar approach to prevent Eubank Jr. from establishing a comfortable rhythm. He needs to make the fight messy, engaging in controlled aggression that disrupts Eubank Jr.'s timing and composure. Connor Benn needs to make a strong statement in round 1 by landing power shots that can rock Eubank Jr. because setting the tone early is crucial against a fighter known for his durability and ability to grow stronger as the fight progresses. Eubank Jr. has proven in past fights that he can take punishment and still come forward, but he has also shown vulnerabilities when forced onto the back foot. If Benn can hurt him early, it will disrupt his rhythm and plant seeds of doubt in his mind. Historically, Eubank Jr. has struggled against fighters who are aggressive but also calculated in their offense. In his loss to George Groves, for instance, Eubank was made to look wild and reckless when he couldn't get into his preferred range. Groves was able to neutralize him by maintaining distance, countering effectively, and making him hesitant to engage. Similarly, in his shocking knockout loss to Liam Smith, Eubank's defensive flaws were brutally exposed. He allowed Smith to work inside and left himself open to power shots, ultimately paying the price. Benn should take note of this and use a blend of aggressive power punching and defensive sharpness to capitalize on Eubank's gaps. Defensively, Benn must ensure that he keeps his guard tight when closing the distance. Eubank Jr. possesses a dangerous uppercut, and any reckless forward movement without head movement could lead to counter shots landing clean. Benn should make his approach unpredictable, mixing up levels and angles to make it difficult for Eubank Jr. to anticipate his attacks. The goal is to create chaos in close range while maintaining enough defensive discipline to avoid unnecessary damage. One major aspect Benn needs to exploit is Eubank's jab. Eubank relies on his jab to create openings for his combinations, but his jab is often predictable, and he sometimes throws it without much variation. Benn can use well-timed counterpunching, especially overhand rights or left hooks, to catch Eubank as he extends his jab. This will not only interrupt Eubank's rhythm but also discourage him from setting up his combinations effectively. Additionally, Eubank has a tendency to leave his head exposed when throwing flurries, especially when he gets too comfortable in exchanges. While he has improved his defense over time, he still gets hit clean when he gets drawn into firefights. Benn should look to bait him into overcommitting by feinting and using lateral movement, then responding with sharp counters that make Eubank pay for his aggression. Another key factor for Benn will be his defensive discipline. Eubank thrives when he is able to overwhelm his opponents with volume, as seen in his fights against fighters like Avni Yildirim and James DeGaulle, where he simply outworked them. If Benn gets reckless and throws too many wild shots without setting them up properly, Eubank could take advantage and start dictating the pace of the fight. This is why Benn must be sharp with his head movement and footwork, forcing Eubank to miss and creating opportunities for power punches. Ultimately, if Benn can hurt Eubank early, disrupt his jab with well-placed counters, and maintain a tight defense to avoid being drawn into unnecessary exchanges, he has a solid path to victory. Eubank is an experienced fighter, but his flaws, such as defensive lapses, predictable jab setups, and struggles against disciplined counterpunches, are areas that Benn can target to make a statement in this fight. Another key weapon for Connor Benn in this fight will be body shots, especially given Chris Eubank Jr.'s history of drastic weight cuts. Eubank has fluctuated between middleweight and super middleweight throughout his career, and his recent attempts to make 160 pounds have visibly drained him. This was evident in the first Liam Smith fight, where he looked physically depleted, and when he got hurt, he couldn't recover as well as he normally would. Benn must take advantage of this by investing heavily in body punches early. A sustained attack to Eubank's midsection will sap his stamina, slow his movement, and make it harder for him to maintain his high work rate. Hard shots to the ribs and solar plexus can also make him more vulnerable upstairs, as he'll instinctively lower his guard to protect his torso. If Benn can mix up his attack, going downstairs to weaken Eubank before coming over the top with power shots, he has a real chance of breaking him down and forcing a stoppage. Stamina and conditioning will also play a crucial role in this fight. Benn's aggressive style demands a high work rate, and he must ensure that he has the endurance to maintain relentless pressure for all 12 rounds if necessary. Holyfield's success in high-intensity fights was largely due to his exceptional conditioning, which allowed him to sustain pressure without fading. Benn must be prepared to push the pace from the opening bell, testing Eubank Jr.'s ability to handle relentless forward movement and high-volume punching. This fight is not just about skill, it's about who can impose their will. If Benn executes his game plan correctly, he has the potential to break down Eubank Jr. and secure a career-defining victory. But what do you think, guys? Who edges it here, Connor Benn or Chris Eubank Jr.? Over to you, boxing fans. Let me know what you think in the comment section.